Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Health Made Simple Show. I'm Dr. Bart, your host. In this conversation, this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into talking about the two greatest weak links for all women in their health. If you listened to my last episode, I did one on men. Make sure you catch that. Continue to do your thing, share it out, keep spreading the love here. Whether you're a man or a woman, listen to this. Make sure that you listen to both so you can either help yourself or help others level themselves up. So today we'll do a little deep dive. And ladies, understand this, that as you listen to what I'm doing and what the things I'm going to say, do your best not to justify why you may or may not do the different actions. Maybe just sit back and just hear them out, because I will tell you this. Again, I've had the opportunity for the last almost 3 decades now to sit in a front row seat and observe what women do or what they don't do, and observe how women are aging and the challenges that they have, things with their hormones, things with weight gain, things with osteoporosis. And it becomes very crystal clear, the weak links. So I'm going to share those today. So use this as an opportunity to continue to improve what you're doing, to continue to level yourself up. Just the fact that you're listening to this podcast, I know you're in the game, and that's one of the most important things. So use this as an opportunity to be very specific about where you can start to make changes and continue to become the best version of yourself. And listen, in order for us to be strong, we have to know what makes us weak. In order for us to kind of lean into our strength and to be our best, we have to know what makes us our worst. So we'll tackle those here today. So again, keep doing your thing, keep sharing it out. And again, if you happen to receive this from someone, know that you're probably receiving it because they love and care for you, and they want you to have an opportunity to level things up. Maybe sometimes I think we're all a little bit stubborn. We're all a little bit of knuckleheads. And a lot of this comes down to accountability, especially if you're an adult listening to this, which most of you are. We're not really good at accountability. So just kind of take that with a grain of salt if someone sent this to you, and recognize that there just might be opportunities that maybe you haven't addressed or haven't seen. And hopefully today I'll shed some light on them, and then also motivate you to go out and continue just to whoop some ass and do things a little bit better. All right, so let's dive in here a little bit. And so the other part of it, before we even do that, sadly, your doctor most likely is never going to discuss these with you, especially these two things I'm about to talk to you about. In fact, they might actually tell you to do the opposite, which is absolutely absurd. And that's part of what I mean by there's no accountability out there. So I love that you're here. Listen, take heed to it, and hopefully integrate, not even hopefully, make sure you integrate some of these starting today. All right. Number one, and these things, I would promise you, are going to require you to get uncomfortable. And that's okay. That is where the rubber hits the road, and that's where change happens, when we start to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable in the fact that we are moving forward. All right. So that being said, let's dive in. Weak links. Number one, you're physically weak. Yes, your muscles are not strong enough and they are not big enough. This is one of the biggest challenges I see with women as we age 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old. And the bigger challenge here, it becomes culturally accepted. It is not acceptable. I'm going to throw a couple of things out there for you. So we now know that there's some recent studies out that one of the most significant predictors of survivability for all cancers is muscle mass. So keep that in mind, because a lot of people, unfortunately, are going to have to deal with cancer at some point in their life. Yet one of the most predictable things that we measure about for survivability of any type of cancer is muscle mass. So keep that in the back of your mind for a little bit there. So our muscles, what does muscles have to do with anything? And the answer is everything. If we don't have enough muscle mass, we end up, so it goes like this. If we don't have muscles, we become a weaker human being. So the fundamentals of things being able to lift things up, whether it be a child or a suitcase or a dog for that matter, all of a sudden the things that we once could do in life, we no longer have the opportunity for. So many times, real things in life, I hear people say, well, I can't go skiing anymore. I can't go to the beach and do this with my family, or I need someone else to do these things for me. The reality is that we shouldn't have to be so reliant on others. Yes, it's wonderful to have someone else help us out, but the reality is that we should not have to rely on other people to do everything for us. So staying physically strong is part of that independence, is part of that self-confidence that we create because we know that we have the capabilities of doing things. So number one weak link is physical strength. And I'm going to give you the solves for this in just a moment. That one's going to be a pretty obvious one. Yet I know this, almost 30 years of doing this, that women are uncomfortable getting stronger. because it's not something that they've accepted. I love the fact that right now in social media, all across the board, you hear more and more conversations about leveling up your physical strength and your muscle mass as being something for longevity. And there's an absolute truth to that. All right, number two is this. Number two is you don't need enough red meat. You don't need enough meat in general, but not enough red meat. I'm going to break this down and keep it simple for you. If you haven't listened to the episode I did on vegan versus carnivore, go back and listen to that one. Here's the reality. The red meat probably has the most nutrient dense form of nutrition on the face of this earth. That is a reality. It has more nutrients. I could argue that red meat has more nutrients than kale does. Yes, we have to eat organic. We have to eat, grass-fed good stuff. But our ancestors grew up on this. This is how we made good, strong human beings. And what I see consistently across the board, we'll just call it from a 50-year-old plus or a 40-year-old plus female, they're no longer eating meat, barely at all, maybe every now and then. High five to all of you out there that are still incorporating in your diet in your life. You probably feel better. You probably have better hormones, quite frankly. We need things like cholesterols, and this is the part that gets weird. If you don't have cholesterol, you can't make your hormones. Now, most of your cholesterol your body's going to make. You're going to get some of it from your diet. But the fact that some people are avoiding things that have cholesterol, like red meat or like eggs and stuff, is absolutely absurd. If you do not eat foods that have cholesterol, you're going to eventually be lowering your hormones. So let's make sure that we are making sure we start to introduce some red meat. Will this be uncomfortable for many of you? It absolutely will be. How do I know? Because again, I observe this and I work with people every day in nutrition. When I bring up this topic, oftentimes I see people cringe. I'm going to encourage you to allow yourself to get uncomfortable. How does this reflect in most women's lives? If you're not lifting weights and you don't have muscle, every one of you have always heard that muscle burns more fat, right, than anything else. Most of my women are out there doing lots of carbs. So here's the solve for you. Two things. One, let's get into the gym. Let's lift weights. Yes, physical weights. And I know that's going to be new territory for you. So how are you going to do that? I'm going to encourage you to go out and get yourself a trainer. Watch a video. Get an accountability partner. Do something on your own. It might be a little bit challenging. So allow yourself to win this part of it. Literally, go down to Target, get some dumbbells, literally hand weights, get 1s, 3s, 5s, some 10s, and just start moving them around. Get a little uncomfortable with them. Watch some videos. I'm going to encourage you to get a personal trainer, learn how to lift weights, learn the proper way to use your muscles so you can get strong again. And for anyone out there listening and they think, oh, but I don't want to get bulky. Listen, it doesn't work that way. I'm 54 years old. I've been lifting weights my whole life and I don't get bulky. So you will not get bulky from lifting weights. I promise you that. You will get fit, you will get toned, and you will become a calorie burning machine the more muscle you have in your body. In my office, we have something called an InBody. It's a body composition tester. And one of the reasons I have it, the primary reason I have it in my office, is to measure body composition of women, because I want them to recognize and be able to see, listen, maintaining a certain weight it's good. It's only a measurement though. Recognizing your body composition, your muscle mass as we age is important. Often I see something what we call skinny fat, where we're literally maintaining the same weight, but we're actually getting fatter and have less muscle mass in the body. So number one, get into the gym, use your body. Now, once you're in the gym, what do you need to feed your body to make those muscles? And that's animal proteins. Red meat will be your absolute best. That's what we call amino acids and essential fatty acids. Essential amino acids, essential fatty acids. My friends, that is what builds muscle for us. You're going to the gym on a regular basis and you're eating all kinds of vegetables all the time. And listen, those are good for us. They're healthy for us, but they're not required. And yes, can you get some protein from your vegetables? Some, yes. The amount that you need to eat to be able to gain muscle mass would be a ludicrous amount. So for the everyday average person like you and I, that we're not consuming massive amounts of food all day long, are you going to get enough animal protein? Absolutely not. You are not going to get enough protein from your vegetables to be able to gain muscle mass. And again, are your doctors, think about it, you walk into your doctor's office, your typical, medical clinic, walk in there. Are they going to tell you, ladies, to eat more red meat? Are they going to tell you to lift weights? The answer is no. They never have and they're never going to. But for you, The individual who wants to have a life of longevity, a life of health, not worried about osteoporosis. What do we hear every time we hear a woman has a little bit of osteoporosis? What do we hear them say? Oh, you got to do weight bearing exercises. Well, that's one part of it. But we got to make sure that we're healthy and that we're putting the right tools in the body to be able to build. And those building blocks are proteins. Those are essential amino acids. So the simple solve for your two weakest links, ladies, is to get stronger, lift weights, not just a spin class and not just cardio. You need to make bigger muscles, stronger muscles. Listen, this will not just walking around muscles, great, but having muscle will give you confidence that you will be able to have independence and you will be able to do things in your life, like pick up your luggage, pick up your dogs, pick up your children, work in the yard and feel good about it because you can do it. Not being able to do those things never makes us feel better. So I'm going to encourage you, I'm going to challenge you to allow yourself to start training with some weights. Tell me when you get stronger that you feel worse. Never going to happen. So I'll also encourage you, or I'll invite you to join us in March at some point. You just have to be listening. We're going to do a level up challenge where we're going to eat a very specific way and we're going to have a physical challenge in there for 30 days. We'll level things up and it'll involve very things like this. So just a real quick recap here, ladies. 2 weak links that I see in almost all women. Physical strength is lacking, especially as we age, in the ability or willingness to eat things like red meat. Are the other meats good for you? If I had to give it a hierarchy, it would go like this. It would go red meat, then eggs, then your fatty fish, then turkey, then chicken. You have that pyramid upside down. Typically, there's always chicken, some fish, a little bit of eggs. Last thing is red meat. The highest quality for you in terms of amino acids, in terms of building your body, but building blocks is going to be red meat. So I'm going to challenge you. Lift more weights, eat more red meat, and then do it for at least 30 days. Find yourself an accountability partner. Go out there, get after, allow yourself to level up. All right, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for listening in. I'll look forward to seeing you on another episode. Have a great day.